good point. Here in Washington, we've been thinking a lot about the metro after the recent accident on the Red Line, but other states are thinking about their metro systems in a different way. The New York subway system has started selling naming rights to some of their subway stops. Particularly, they have sold the Brooklyn Metro stop to Barclays Bank, which is a British bank. They have sold it for $4 million. So I guess it'll say now Brooklyn Barclays subway station. They haven't announced exactly what the sign will say, but they have a lot to fix on those signs. They have to put the name of the stop, the name of the naming rights, and all of the elevators and all of the street names. So that's going to be a very small font. We'll see how it changes. $4 million can be put to a lot of use, and I know in Washington our metro system is definitely bankrupt, and this recent accident is really not helping the system as a whole. And if maybe we could sell some of the metro stops in Washington to help the system, I think that Washington system would be really strengthened. Maybe Barclays wants to come to Washington, maybe have a stronghold in a Smithsonian, Washington, Barclays metro stop, maybe? Capitol Hill North, yeah. Barclays?
Scrap Metro's entire board. That's my opinion. That's my own personal opinion. The fact that there's so much infighting and so much debate and so much gridlock about getting things done. You know, the NTSB said replace these cars, the ones that were involved in the accident, replace them. They said this 4 or 5 years ago, yet they're still in use. So I think there are a lot of problems with the metro at the top that need to be sorted out.
I think it's a chance for Washington residents, and there are a lot of us who do use the metro system, to say we need to be safe, we need to be just as safe as when we drive in our cars, and use the same attention to detail on safety for everyone involved, not just the riders. It's the people who are the employees of Metro as well, as the woman who was driving one of the Metro cars that recently crashed.
That's right. Call your congressman. Tell them to take action. And speaking of elected officials, you can't ignore the story about the governor of South Carolina, Mark Sanford, who recently admitted an affair with a woman from Argentina. And what was this guy thinking?
This is the nuttiest thing in the world.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to tell my family and tell the world I'm going on a hiking trip alone through the Appalachian Trail. I'm going to check out. I'm not going to tell the lieutenant governor where I am. I'm not going to tell anybody. Yet he's spotted on a plane coming into Atlanta, and that's how it all broke.
Well, I heard that he, and when I say I heard, because we here at Darshan, we do like to attribute where we read stories, but I'm just going to go in general and say this is reported everywhere, that he just left. I think it was the staff that came up with the Appalachian Trail thing. The whole thing from beginning to end is nutty. Now, I did hear that he and his wife were separated.
Yes.
They were living apart, so he needs to go on vacation. There are rules on what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to alert people. He's supposed to take security with him. Now, Argentina, I would take security with me to Argentina, and I'm a nobody.
Yeah, I agree with you. He had to follow those protocols because suppose something happened and suppose something had to be done. You know, what if there was some kind of natural disaster in South Carolina?
Absolutely.
You had to mobilize people. You had to get funds. You had to get resources. Who's going to be in charge? You've got to leave the lieutenant governor in charge to make those calls if you're not going to be there, if you're not equipped to make those decisions. One of the other issues is just the hypocrisy. Wow. This is one of the guys who, when President Clinton did what he did, was one of the first to call for impeachment. He was actually a member of the House of Representatives from South Carolina at the time. And look where he is 10, 15 years later.
I also have an issue with the emails that he was sending, apparently from government computers, these love letters that are pretty hot and heavy. And when I say pretty hot and heavy, I mean for a high school student. They're very sort of like, oh, I wish I could really see you right now after 7th grade PE period. I mean, they're sort of odd. I mean, there's definitely, he cares about this woman, but it's all just surreal. It's stuff that you would never expect somebody of that level of politics to be doing. This is the kind of thing you hear about in, like, Italian politics. Well, moving on to the White House, I have to give my Michelle Obama report. I was very interested after watching the NBC Day in the Life of the White House to hear that Michelle Obama has canned her senior staff member and has gone in a new way. She's looking for more substance. She wants her job to have more substance. Sounds like she wants to do more than just going to schools and planting gardens, which has brought a lot of attention. She's the first lady to plant a garden in the White House since the Roosevelt administration. Very important, very interesting. But she's really looking to take a stand. She's a very well-educated woman, very accomplished woman, and I think that she feels like she's had her couple of months of vacation and she's ready to really get her hands dirty in maybe some policy issues.
She clearly wants to have a more involved role. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. We all remember Hillary Clinton when she tried to take on health care as her big task and her big issue. I wonder what Michelle's going to take on. I wonder what role she's going to take on. Will they give her something that will become Michelle's project, or will she just try to insert her ideas into various projects that are going on?
I bet the First Lady inserts herself into whatever interests her. I think every First Lady sort of has that way of getting the President's ear and really is a sounding board to the President's needs. And I think that this is a chance for another First Lady to make an impact like Hillary Clinton could have made. I think there were a lot of people who were so unused to having a strong woman in the White House like Hillary Clinton that they really pushed back a lot. I feel like she got a bum rap for most of her time in the White House. And I think she set the stage for Michelle Obama to come in and say, no, I think there's a way of bridging the gap. You can be both a mother and you can be an important person in the political process. I'm very interested to see what she takes on. She has already made such an impact on young people around the world. Just when she speaks to the young people in this country, you can tell that she really cares. And I've been really surprised at how she lets her emotions come to the forefront and really show these students how important they are to her and how important they are to the future of their country, whether it be the United States or whatever country she visits. It's been very interesting for me to see this role that she's taken. Looking forward to seeing the next step.
Yeah, and I read that article as well, and one of the things that jumped out at me was